Hey dreamers, it's me, TahrifaTheDreamer, and today's video we're talking about struggles with communication.
When we wake up, we stay up. Got no time to waste. On the ground, we stay up. Can't let nobody face us. We on the way to lead out. They coming for us. Which streets stop to us? Nothing's impossible. That's why they call us dreamers. That's why they call us dreamers.
So that is communication in our relationships, and these are situations that many of us have issues with, and I'm going to talk about them. Okay, the first thing I want to say is something that a lot of us have realized, but I just want to reiterate for this video. You can communicate all you want to communicate, but if the other party does not understand you and respect what you feel enough to change their actions or to just take you on, then it's not gonna work. So understanding, communication, and respect, mutual respect, is what all comes together to make a healthy conversation, healthy interaction between people. However, every relationship is different, and that may look different to you in your relationship. And I always talk about assumptions and how assumptions kill relationships and assumptions in relationships and in general, so I'm not going to go into that because we know how I feel about assumptions, but it is a reason that we struggle in communication, but we're not going to talk about that because we talked about that already. So the first issue that I've come across, that I tend to do, that I see other people doing, that I cringe when I think about, is struggling in silence to keep the peace. And it's like that goes beyond the point, but sometimes you communicate to a person and your response is never good, so you end up holding stuff back so you don't have to deal with the other person's reactions. People's fragile egos, trying to avoid the end of a relationship because you know that one little spark that lights the fuse and it just everything falls apart and you're not ready to go through that. Sometimes you're codependent with that person and it's like, I'm not gonna cause no drama because I need you and me to be peaceful right now because I'm going through some stuff and I can't. And the next two things with keeping the peace is like, sometimes you're not in a position where you can end a relationship. Whether it's like you live with the person, like it's your family member and you can't move, or it's a friend who's everyone else's friend and you can't really get rid of the person. So it's like you want to deal with the situation, you want to communicate how you feel, you want to express everything, but the damage that is going to cause to your life, their life, and everyone else's around you, you may feel like it's better to be silent for a period of time and hope that it naturally sorts itself out, or just wait till it's in a better place that it doesn't have such a catastrophic effect on everyone else's life. And then sometimes you go through some stuff where it's like, it's not really about the other people, it's about you finding out who you are and dealing with that internally, and you hide yourself in the meantime. Like, you don't share with people the struggles you're going through inside, so you hide how you feel, you hide who you are, mainly because it will not be so easily accepted by the people around you. So it may be something you are having a hard time accepting within yourself in the first place, or it could be that every time anyone else has introduced these issues or these thoughts to these people around you, they've had a negative reaction. So you don't want to go through the same thing and cause more pain to yourself, so you just keep it to yourself to keep the peace of everything. But inside, if you're miserable, it's something we all go through, and I don't have the solution for it just yet, so I just want to talk about it. But suffering in silence is never good. It's just never good. It's just not helpful in the for your mental health, and it's not helping you grow if you're not dealing with it. And it's easier said than done, for sure, to come out of that place of security, or what feels like security, of keeping stuff, because the truth will set you free. it may be a painful and long process before you have that peace, but it will come eventually. That is what I would say to other people. That is what I would say to myself. Is you can't keep something in forever. It has to come out at some point. And what is in your control is how it comes out. So it's better to decide that you want something to come out and plan how you want it to come out, than rather it come out from somewhere else, or it come out of rage, or just you falling apart. So that's something to think about, I would say. And yeah, I want to talk about it because I feel a lot of us suffer in silence in some way, especially males, and I just want us to talk more and share more and have more peace in our lives. Another issue is never being or never feeling heard and understood, and that is a lot to do with emotional intelligence sometimes, but you are not going to always understand another person. We all are different, we all think differently, we all have different experiences, they mold us differently. And so you may not naturally understand what someone is trying to say, but if you care about that person and you respect that person, you should try to. You should put yourself in their position. You should consider other perspectives and give them the opportunity to have their feelings be valid. Think about when a kid is really excited to tell you something and you ignore them and push them away, or you listen to them for 5 seconds and then be like, okay, whatever. Like, that crushes them, and that causes them to not want to say things to you. That causes them to not trust you because you don't make them feel valid. And we do that to each other a lot as like grown-ups. It may be like, you grown, you gonna get over it, but if you continuously go through that, let's say everyone in your life does that to you, think about how you would feel if no one listens to you, if no one cares, if no one pays attention to you, if every time you try to express yourself, nobody gives a F, and it's just, you kind of feel unworthy. You kind of question your worth and all these things. And imagine doing that unintentionally to the person that you love, the person that you care about. So it's like, think about it from their perspective. And if you are the person that is expressing how you feel, wanting to talk about stuff, even if it's just your stuff that you're excited about, stuff that scares you, stuff that you want, and the person you want to listen is not listening to you, express how you feel. And if after you've expressed that, you decide how many times and the other person just doesn't care, I think it's best for you to re-evaluate your place in the relationship. That's just me. Think about it. Sometimes people have filters when they listen. So it's kind of like, okay, if you're thinking about something, if something triggers you, anytime you hear someone say it, anytime someone addresses your insecurity, you're gonna feel attacked when they're really not on you like that. It's kind of like that, but not really. But that is also an example of that. So people listen through filters is what I was trying to say. So you express when you don't like when someone does something. You express how you feel when someone does something and it's not good and you want them to stop, you want them to change, and they don't hear you. Like, they hear you, and it's not about hearing versus listening. It's like they're listening, they think that they hear you, but what they hear is filtered, and it's filtered to their own insecurities and their own restrictions. So you telling somebody you don't like when they do something, whatever, but they have a reason for doing it, a subconscious reason that satisfies this whatever issues they have, and they continue to do the same thing. Because let's say you ask somebody not to knock the door and they keep knocking the door. Sometimes it's not about doing it to irritate you. Sometimes it's just knocking the door is necessary for them for whatever they're going through. And you have to kind of pay attention to that. Think about when someone is doing this to you and you could tell that they are malicious towards you. think about why would this person repeat this activity over and over, and look into like their triggers and what they go through to see is like, okay, are you people pleasing right now? Are you doing this thing I asked you not to do to please other people? Are you doing this thing because it gives you confidence? Are you doing these things because it helps you cope? Like, you need to be more, what's the word, observant about these things before you completely attack that person. Like, yes, you might be hurt, yes, you might be frustrated, but if you know this person loves you and you know you tell them already, dog, this is irritating me, and they're still doing it, kind of look into why they're doing it. Not so much the fact that they are doing it. And that might be hard because it's like, you don't care about me. I told you not to do this. Where's your problem? So try to figure out what the problem is before you go to drastic action. The next thing is unbalanced expectations. So we all know the importance of managing the expectations, setting boundaries, all of these things. But it's weird when you both agree on something, you think you are aligned, and then when it comes to the action time, people do different stuff. And you're like, in your head, am I doing too much? Do I love you more than you love me? And it's kind of sad when you like express yourself and you say what you want, what you need, and none of it is done. So it's like, am I asking for, like, you kind of have to like, am I asking for too much? Like, am I bugging right now? Like, that's kind of how you be, because it's like, this person say they feel the same way about you. They express it to you sometimes, but when it comes time for them to be there for you, when it comes time for them to prove it, they don't do it. It's very, very confusing. I don't know what the solution to that is, because sometimes you talk to them, sometimes you express that, and they still don't do anything about it. So I guess it's about a tolerance thing, like how much can you tolerate them doing it, and when you reach your mark, you just go. I don't know, or you just change what you want completely. Like, what is the solution to this issue? And that's weird in like a friendship with like a boy and a girl or whatever, and it's like, no, you're just my best friend, but they act different. Like, they're treating you way too special, but they're like, no, I don't like you like that. It's like, you're confusing me. You are confusing me. Or if it's like a best friend, right, and a regular friend, like if our regular friend is like doing real best friend activity, and you like, okay, but I set the boundaries, why are you doing so much? Or is the opposite way, where you are best friends, but every time it comes for you to do best friend activity, or you're not doing it for me, but you're doing it for other people. Like, I don't get it. I just don't. Like, there's kind of a hard situation. It's like, do you address it? Do you make it out to be like, are you so bothered? Or do you let it go? But my thing is, whatever your heart tells you to do. If you want it badly, and you've always wanted it, don't settle. Don't settle with that person, and don't settle for that person. So if that person, if you express it again and again and again, and they don't change it, then move on, because you deserve whatever it is you're asking for. But also, the other person isn't obligated to give it to you at the same time. So if somebody's not giving you something, then you need to move on, okay? They don't like you like that. They don't want to give it to you. They don't love you like that. That's not important to them, and that's okay. It's okay, but we need to express these things to each other. And the last thing I'll talk about, like, is not knowing what you want. You're entering into relationships, friendships, all of these things without knowing what you want from that other person, and confusing the other people. And that, let's see where this goes when you know how the other person feels. You know exactly what they want, but you refuse to say what you want, how you feel. Like, how is that fair? How is that okay? And that's when people start gaslighting and lying straight up, hiding stuff, literally just not caring. You can't play with people's feelings like that. If you know something is not what you want and it's happening, don't allow it to happen. Don't allow it for two reasons. Don't allow it to protect yourself if you don't like stuff that's happening, and don't allow it to protect that other person. So if you see someone doing something and they're doing a little too much, they're getting a little too invested, and you know you are not in the same place as they are, you need to express that to them clearly, so they're not being misled clearly, so they're not making you out to be the villain when you really just want to live your life. Like, express to people how you feel, express to people what you want. Even if you don't know what you want, express that. Let people choose if they want to stick around or not. Stop using people to fill voids. Stop using people to disadvantage them. Stop using people without being clear about your intentions. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And if it's just miscommunication in general, take the time to figure out what people's love languages are, what people's communication styles are, and try to suit your message to whatever you're trying to say specifically for them. People aren't going to, as I said, people have filters. Some people aren't going to hear you and understand what you mean unless you say it in a way for them to understand. And I think teachers understand that. Not everybody learns the same way. Not everybody grasps information the same way or receives love the same way. So you have to, because we're all different, as we all know. So you have to tailor certain things for certain people. Sometimes even in certain situations you have to do it too. It's like, if you love that person, if you care about that person, you're going to go the extra mile. So pay attention to people. Express what you need from them, listen to what they need, and try to give it to them as well. And in order to express what you need to know. So if you know you don't belong in relationships, whether it be romantic relationships or friendships, if you know you're not in a place to sustain those, do not go into them. Do not bring other people into your ish. Work your ish out first and then go do that, because it's difficult and sometimes selfish of you to bring other people into your stuff knowing very well that you don't have it figured out, and without expressing that, I'm about to go, yeah, come true, I go handle your seed, and you then have misleading people. Stop doing that. So if you know you want the relationship or friendship, work on yourself. Be the person that they deserve. Be the person that deserves what you want, because sometimes you want things and you don't deserve them. To be honest, and you have to put yourself in a position to deserve certain things. Like, you can't be expecting things from people if you're not willing to give it to them. And if you know you're not in a place to give it to them, don't ask. Get your shit together first and then put yourself in place to ask people for things that you could give back to them. And when you figure out where you feel, express it. Be brave, be bold. Make ultimatums, make non-negotiables, get what you want, but be sure that you deserve that. But that is all for my things on issues in communications with people, with relationships. Some of them I don't have solutions for, and you need to help me out. What do you do in those situations? We're all learning, we're all growing, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I make videos on Tuesdays and Saturdays, so click the bell next to the subscribe button for post notifications for more videos. That is all. Okay, bye.